This is IGN. Cat and mouse games become buddy hijinks in a crime caper that takes too long to get going. This is your IGN review of Den of Thieves 2 Pantera by Zaki Hassan. Den of Thieves 2 Pantera doesn't strive to go much higher than the bar set by the cat and mouse game of its predecessor, nor does it land too far beneath the original Den of Thieves. It's the very definition of a lateral move, which will likely satisfy the fan base that is built up around the first face-off between criminal mastermind Donnie Wilson, played by O'Shea Jackson Jr., and determined cop Big Nick O'Brien, played by Gerard Butler. That said, it does suffer from the same inflated runtime problems, while taking too long to get to the showcase heist sequence that we really want to see. Recognizing what worked previously, returning writer-director Christian Gudegast leans into Butler's endearingly ham-bone persona, with the increasingly shaggy Scottish actor again breaking out his mush-mouth American accent in service of F-bomb-laden tough guy talk. New in Pantera is a fun 48-hour-style buddy dynamic between Butler and Jackson. When O'Brien learns that Wilson and a new criminal crew have taken up residence in France for another potential score, he heads overseas to bring them down, with the Pantera of the title referring to the French task force assigned to assist him. This is where the various intricacies of who's who in the hierarchy of Gallic organized crime threaten to topple over in a sea of rushed foreign dialogue, with no subtitles, by the way, and impenetrable accents. Like Den of Thieves, Pantera is very much a reflection of its influences, with DNA from Fast and Furious, Donnie Brasco, and The Town in evidence. Unlike the first chapter, which restricted its action to LA and garnered an air of grounded authenticity as a result, the sequel is more of a globe-trotting affair, which adds a sense of scope, but robs this burgeoning franchise of some of its identity. Though props to Gudegast for making O'Brien the butt of several ugly American jokes, as opposed to using his man's man persona as a vehicle to constantly dunk on his French colleagues. It really isn't until about 90 minutes in, when the central heist begins, that things start to hum along in earnest. From that point, Pantera relies on the tried-and-true pleasures of a ticking clock scenario, with characters having to move quickly to avoid detection by motion sensors, cameras, etc. It's worked wonders for the Mission Impossible series in Ocean's 11, and while Pantera isn't entirely in their league, it still manages to entertain with several last-second escapes as our characters dart the labyrinthine vault. One complaint about Pantera also applied to the original Den of Thieves. Both movies clock in at roughly 140-ish minutes. Gudegast may have aspirations for a crime saga in the vein of the similarly lengthy Heat, but these are ultimately pulpy confections at heart, and there isn't enough story to justify the extra-sized frame. Regardless, while the previous film came to a bittersweet conclusion that didn't immediately call out for a continuation, Pantera is very clearly telegraphing another den down the line. Here's hoping they trim some of the setup in the next one and go straight for the caper. Den of Thieves 2 Pantera is neither better nor worse than the sleeper hit crime caper that preceded it. Like the original, it's too long and threatens to become overwhelmed by its own web of underworld intricacies. Nonetheless, with appealing chemistry between stars Gerard Butler and O'Shea Jackson Jr., and a suitably tense third-act heist sequence, it rewards the goodwill the original has built up since its 2018 release. Den of Thieves 2 Pantera's IGN score? 6. Thanks for listening to IGN. My name is Tony Jackson, and for the latest Den of Thieves updates, visit us at IGN.com.
Spoken Layer.